Once upon a time, in a quiet little village surrounded by tall trees and the soft songs of morning birds, there lived a kind man with two daughters. The first daughter, Mira, lost her mother when she was still a little girl. Her father, longing to give her a mother's care again, remarried a woman who had a daughter of her own. Her name was Leela. Leela was beautiful but terribly lazy. Every morning she sat before the mirror, painting her nails and admiring her reflection, while Mira swept the floor, cooked the meals, washed the clothes, and worked from dawn to dusk. Her stepmother adored Leela and had no kind word for Mira. If something went wrong, she blamed Mira. If there was work to be done, she called Mira. One morning, as Mira was hanging the washed clothes to dry, her stepmother's sharp voice cut through the air. "Mira, come here at once." Mira hurried inside, wiping her wet hands on her apron. "Yes, stepmother." "Go and mop the floor," the woman commanded, pointing to the already gleaming tiles. Mira bowed slightly and replied softly, "But, stepmother, I have already done that." The woman's eyes narrowed. "Then go and do it again. I said mop it." There was no arguing with her. Mira nodded quietly and picked up the mop once more. As she worked, the sunlight streaming through the window reflected on the floor, so clean that it shimmered like glass, yet her stepmother's heart remained darker than the soot in the fireplace. And so while Leela preened herself in the mirror, Mira polished and toiled, her gentle spirit shining brighter than any floor she scrubbed. One morning, the stepmother said sharply, "Mira, you're old enough to earn money. Go out and find work." Her father frowned. "Let Leela go too. It's time she learned what hard work means." But the stepmother shook her head. "Never. I won't have her spoil her pretty nails." The man sighed, turned to Mira, and said softly, "My daughter, wherever you go, remember what I've taught you. Help anyone who asks, obey your employer, and be kind even when no one is watching." Mira hugged him and began her journey. As she walked down a dusty path, she saw an old, dry tree. Its branches drooped and cracked in the wind. The tree called out in a weak voice, "Dear child, could you help me? My dry branches weigh me down. Please cut them off." Mira looked at her tender hands, smiled, and said, "Of course I will." She broke off each branch one by one. Her palms ached, but she kept smiling. When she was done, the tree whispered, "Thank you, kind child. Your goodness will not be forgotten." She walked on, and soon she came to a cracked oven by the road. It called out, "Please patch my sides so I can bake again." Mira knelt, gathered some clay, and repaired the cracks until the oven looked whole again. "Bless you, dear heart," said the oven. "One day you'll find warmth where others find nothing." Further along, she found a dirty well, its mouth filled with mud and weeds. It whispered faintly, "Please clear me, so thirsty travelers can drink again." Mira cleaned and scrubbed until the water shimmered like glass. The well said gratefully, "May your life always flow as freely as my waters." By nightfall, Mira was tired and hungry. In the distance, she saw a light, a beautiful castle glowing softly under the moon. She knocked gently, and to her surprise, the door creaked open to reveal a kind-faced fairy, her silver hair glowing softly in the candlelight. "Good evening, child," the fairy said kindly. "You look weary. What brings you here?" Mira bowed politely. "Yes, ma'am, I've been walking for hours. I'd be most grateful if I could pass the night here." The fairy's eyes softened with compassion. "Of course, my dear, you may rest here. But tell me, what are you doing alone in the woods? Where are your parents?" Mira lowered her gaze. "My father is old and can barely work. I've been looking for a job so I can help take care of him." The fairy thought for a moment, then smiled. "You have a good heart, child. Would you like to work here, in my castle, for a year?" Mira's eyes brightened and she bowed again. "Yes, ma'am. I'll do whatever you ask." "Very well," said the fairy, her smile deepening. "You may clean every room in this castle, except one. Promise me, Mira, you will never open that door." Mira agreed and began her work. Day after day she cleaned, cooked, and sang softly to herself. She never touched the forbidden room. After 1 year, she went to the fairy and said, "Dear madam, my time is done. I'd like to return home." The fairy smiled gently. "Tell me, child, why didn't you open the door?" Mira replied, "Because my father taught me to obey those I serve." The fairy nodded. "You are faithful and good. Come, open it now." Mira hesitated, then opened the door. Inside lay piles of gold, pearls, and jewels that shimmered like sunlight. "These are your rewards," said the fairy. "You've earned them with your honesty and kindness." On her way home, the sun was already sinking behind the hills, painting the sky with shades of gold and rose. Mira's feet ached and her stomach growled softly, for she had walked a long way without food or rest. As she trudged along the dusty path, she came upon the old dry tree, the same one she had passed before, lifeless and bare. But now, to her amazement, it had transformed into a splendid tree, heavy with fruits and green leaves that shimmered in the sunlight. The tree seemed to recognize her gentle heart. Its branches swayed gracefully, and ripe fruits dropped softly into her basket. Mira smiled with gratitude. She ate until she was full and gathered more to take home to her father. "Thank you, kind tree. May your branches never wither." The tree rustled happily, as if blessing her in return. Further down the path, she reached the cracked old oven that once looked dull and broken. Now it stood whole again, glowing with warmth. The air was sweet with the smell of freshly baked bread. The oven spoke in a friendly tone. "Dear Mira, take some loaves for your journey." The oven's mouth opened and golden loaves rolled gently into her hands. She ate a piece and it was the softest, warmest bread she had ever tasted. She tucked a few more loaves into her basket for her father. "Thank you," she said with a smile. "Your kindness will never be forgotten." When she reached the well, it was no longer cracked and dry. Its stones sparkled in the sunlight and the water inside shimmered like crystal. As soon as she leaned over, a cool stream rose to meet her cup. She drank deeply, and the water refreshed her more than anything she had ever known. "Thank you, dear well. You have been so kind to me." When she reached home, her father cried with joy. "Father, the world is kinder than it seems," she said with a gentle smile. His father ate, tears of gratitude glistening in his eyes. Their humble home was filled not only with the scent of warm bread and ripe fruit, but with peace, love, and the quiet blessings that follow a pure heart. Mira, radiant with joy, wore some of the gold and pearls the fairy had given her. The jewels sparkled softly around her neck and wrists, catching the glow of the evening fire. When her stepmother and Leela saw her, They froze in astonishment. Their mouths fell open, and for a long moment, neither could speak. Then her eyes darkened with greed. "Gold, jewels, where did you get all this, girl?" Mira bowed her head humbly. "From the kind fairy, stepmother. She gave them to me as a reward for my work and obedience." At once, her envy burned hotter than ever. She clutched Leela's arm, her voice sharp and commanding. "Leela, you heard her. Go at once. Go and do exactly what Mira did. Find that fairy and bring back even more gold." Leela tossed her hair proudly, her eyes gleaming with greed. "Don't worry, mother," she said. "If Mira could do it, I'll do it better." So Leela set out the next morning, grumbling as she walked. Her heart filled not with kindness, but with envy and desire. She soon came to the dry tree, which pleaded, "Please help me remove my dry branches." Leela folded her arms. "Do you think I'll break my nails for you? Never." She walked away. Then she passed the cracked oven, which said, "Patch me up so I can bake again." Leela rolled her eyes. "I'm not your servant." She stomped off. When the well called for help, she shouted, "Clean yourself. I'm not wasting my time on you." And with that, she marched on, her nose in the air. When she reached the castle, the fairy greeted her kindly. "Welcome, dear girl. Would you like to work here for a year?" Leela smiled sweetly. "Yes, of course." The fairy gave her the same instruction. "You may clean every room, except one. Do not open that door." But on the very first day, Leela grew bored and curious. She whispered, "What could possibly be inside?" She tiptoed to the forbidden door, turned the handle, and opened it. Suddenly, dark smoke filled the air. From the shadows came snakes, scorpions, and crawling creatures, hissing and stinging. Leela screamed in terror. She ran out of the room, scratching and crying, her face pale with fear. The fairy appeared and said calmly, "You disobeyed. You shall take home what you've earned." Leela begged, but the fairy only gave her a small chest and sent her away. On her way home, weary and angry, Leela trudged down the same path her stepsister once walked. The sun was hot, and her fine shoes were caked in dust. She had expected the journey to be easy, but now her stomach growled and her throat ached with thirst. Soon she came upon the old dry tree, the same one Mira had once blessed. Its branches swayed gently in the wind, full of ripe, golden fruits. "Please, tree, give me some fruits," Leela cried, holding out her hands eagerly. But the tree only rustled its leaves coldly and said, "You did not help me when I was dry and dying. I cannot help you now." Ashamed and hungry, Leela turned away, muttering angrily under her breath. Next, she reached the oven, glowing warm with freshly baked loaves. The sweet scent filled the air, making her mouth water. "Oven, please give me some bread. I'm starving," she begged. But the oven hissed, its voice sharp as fire. "You refused to mend my cracks when I was broken. Now I cannot feed you." Leela stomped her foot in frustration and hurried on, her stomach twisting with hunger. Finally, she came to the well, its waters clear and sparkling beneath the sun. She fell to her knees beside it, her lips dry and trembling. "Please, just a sip of water," she gasped. But the well bubbled angrily and replied, "You left me covered in dirt and refused to clean me. Now, I leave you thirsty." Leela wept bitterly, her cries echoing through the fields. By the time she stumbled home, her hair was tangled, her clothes torn, and her once beautiful face was streaked with dust and tears. There were no jewels, no gold, only the lesson that kindness freely given returns as blessings, while selfishness leaves one empty-handed. When she reached home, her father saw her and sighed sadly. "My child, the world always returns what we give." Mira helped her inside, washed her wounds, and gave her food. Even after all that had happened, she still showed kindness. And slowly, Leela learned that beauty fades, but kindness and hard work shine forever. Moral of the story:
Help those who ask. Work with honesty. And remember, the world always gives back what you give to it. If this story warmed your heart, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Tales by Cathie, where every story reminds you that kindness shines brighter than gold, and goodness always wins.